Welcome in. I'm Adam Osland. This is a Clippers Talk Live. So I'm trying to get my bearings here. Appreciate you guys. Uh, Reminder, we had Brian Seaman on the show yesterday. So if you're watching this right now, I would go watch that instead. Brian Seaman, your radio voice of the Clippers, was on and asked him a myriad of questions, including how he felt about Paul George's return and him still going with the or clarifying the B team comment and still seemingly taking shots at the Clippers and just how that reception was at Intuit Dome in his first game back. That was a really good conversation. Brian was nice enough to do it. He's on the road. It was his day off in Houston. Obviously, the Clippers are playing a baseball series against the Rockets. It is a 2-game mini series where they get after it tonight in a cup game, hence the background. It is the new Emirates Cup. This is, I think, the floor they're going to be using tonight for the Houston Rockets. AXC said, "Good morning, Adam." Good morning, AXC. Appreciate you being in here. I am going to talk about in this one some strange, fluky shooting that's going on with James Harden. And it's one quarter that is pretty much tanking his percentages. Jose says, "Can't wait for Kawhi to come back." Cool. When do you think that's gonna be? Because he's not even practicing yet. So could be a bit, Jose. Uh we're all waiting. We're all hoping for the best. But talk with Law Murray about that on the pregame show Wednesday night, and he doesn't think he's that close to coming back. Maybe December? I don't know. He asked Coach Lou about if he'll be practicing in November, and Coach Lou could not even confirm that yet. So let me know when he's practicing. At that point, I'll start to ramp up my excitement for his build up to returning to the floor. Waiting for more people to get in here. Again, the Brian Seaman interview yesterday is a must listen. He talked a lot about Paul George, his thoughts on the Emirates Cup, early season Clippers being 6-6, if that lined up with his expectations. Just a whole host of issues. The new starting lineup, Terrence Mann coming off the bench, the young guys getting run. Really cool to have Brian Seaman on. Means a lot to me. He's a good friend. He means a lot to me. Just in general, because I wouldn't be in this position without him. Christian said, "Is that what the court looks like? That's sweet." Yeah. I believe I pulled this off a website that said this is what it's supposed to look like tonight. So we'll see if it lines up. People I think are starting to warm up to the NBA in-season tournament. Players are more excited about it. They seem to be, I don't know, a little bit more understanding of the intent of it. And, a lot of these guys watch European soccer. They're sports fans. So they get it. And I think we're the ones who are still trying to wrap our heads around why this matters and how much meaning does this have. And are we just going to make fun of the person that wins the in-season tournament every year because it's not the NBA championship? I think over time it's going to age really well. And this is just the sophomore season of it. So Adam Silver is a forward thinker, and we will see where this goes. A lot of people, they didn't like the play-in tournament. Well, that's been a massive success for the NBA in so many ways because it has more teams involved and more fan bases involved during the regular season because, well, there's 10 spots now, really, that you can talk about when it's about getting into the playoffs because you got those 4 play-in spots. The Brian Seaman interview, he was definitely on point on Paul George. He went in a little bit, and it was really fun conversation. Again, check it out. Christian said prize money is nice. I don't know if that really benefits the fan base, but there is an incentive there for the players to look. This is about bringing more eyeballs, obviously, to the NBA while they're still competing with the NFL that time of the year, where NFL is king, of course, but with the NBA starting in late October, they want to make sure that people are tuning in and that they're giving their league some love. They don't want it to start apparently just on Christmas Day when the NBA has kind of had their unofficial tip off for a lot of people who may be casuals, that the casual audience tends to gravitate more so towards the NBA around Christmas. And those Christmas Day games where it's all day, like 6 NBA games, whatever it is, that for some people gets the juices flowing for NBA basketball. They don't want to wait till then. So that's what the in-season tournament is about, bringing a little bit more importance to some of these early regular season games in November, December, and just trying to elevate the atmosphere a little bit and have some nice competition. I'd be watching regardless, but I understand why they're doing it. It needs more mass appeal, not just for the hardcore fans. You need to bring in more of the fringe audience that tends to jump on the NBA in the new year once the NFL is starting to wind down. Okay, so let's talk about tonight's matchup. Obviously, they're running it back, taking on the Houston Rockets, where they lost in Houston on Wednesday night, 111-103. In a game where the Clippers were getting destroyed on the boards. In fact, after 3 quarters, they were down 45-27 in the rebounding department. They were down 17-0 in second chance points. That's an unbelievable number because the Houston Rockets had 15 offensive rebounds. They had 17 second chance points. They went 7 of 14 in those opportunities. The Clippers were 0 for 5. That is just inexcusable. They got beat up on the glass. That's really where this game was won for the Houston Rockets, because you can look at it this way. Now, the Clippers only had 9 turnovers. I would like to say that's a meaningful number, but the problem is, for a team that was averaging almost 18 per game, I think Brian Siemens said this, 8 of the 9 turnovers they had were live ball turnovers. And the Rockets were converting almost every one of those. In fact, off the Clippers' 9 total turnovers, they had 24 points. That is outrageous. Or 24 fast break points. I should say, 19 points total. No, make it 20 points. I'm sorry. Off their, it's saying 12 turnovers now? This is an updated box score? I thought we had it at 9. Okay, off their 12 turnovers, that's still not a bad number. 20 turnovers? 20 turnovers. Or excuse me. It's still early. Let me take a sip of my drink here, guys. I'm sorry. I was up late last night. For clarification's sake, updated box score says the Clippers had 12 turnovers. The Rockets had 20 points out of those 12 turnovers. That is a lot. That is a problem. They were absolutely taking advantage of those opportunities. They made the Clippers pay for each and every turnover. Typically, if you're getting a point per turnover, that's a good number. 20 points off of 12 turnovers, they almost doubled it. That is brutal. So even though the Clippers only had 12 turnovers, thought it was 9. Even though they only had 12, they were compounded by the fact that a lot of them were live ball turnovers. So while they cut down on their turnovers, too many of them were happening in the course of play where the Houston Rockets could get out and run and get in transition, and they did have 24 fast break points. The Clippers 18, which is a good number, but 24, that's a huge number, getting in transition like that. Then you look at points in the paint. I told you about this coming into the game on Wednesday in my preview. So the Rockets give up the fewest points in the paint per game to their opponents. And the Clippers were really good in points in the paint. They were like 11th on the season. They were getting about 50 points in the paint. Well, they went under that, 42 points in the paint. Meanwhile, the Rockets got 52 points in the paint. So that Houston Rockets defense, their length, their athleticism, their ability to keep you away from the rim really proved out to be true. And that's problematic, and the Clippers have to be better in that area. One way to do that is to get Ivica Zubac involved early and often. Taking 8 shots in a game does not work anymore. I'm sorry. Last season, he averaged, I think, 7 attempts per ball game. Yeah, Paul George is not here. Kawhi Leonard isn't playing yet. Ivica Zubac has to get 10-plus shot attempts per game, period. And at one point, he took 3 shots in the first half and then got 4 shots up within the first half of the third quarter alone, within the first 6 minutes of the third quarter. So they knew that has to be an emphasis, getting Ivica Zubac the ball coming out of the half after not getting him the ball much at all to start off the game. And that's just inexcusable to me at this point. You can't keep making that mistake. I'm telling you, getting Ivica Zubac the basketball does not guarantee a win. But it damn near guarantees you a loss if you're not getting him the ball. It's going to be really hard to win those games when Ivica Zubac is not being featured. It just is. He's too important to this team. He's a made man. He's averaging 16 and 12. And that's after that game where he barely touched the basketball. Some of it's on him. It is. He has to be better. He has to demand the basketball. Let's see. They have lost every game so far that Ivica Zubac has finished in single digits. 6 points against Portland. 9 points against OKC the first time in Intuit Dome. 8 points against Houston on Wednesday. I'm seeing a pattern here, guys. It's not less is more with Ivica Zubac. More is more. If you want to win the ball game, you have to get him going. It's not an option. This is why when he started off so slow, and I think was, 3 of 14 or something like that in the first half against the San Antonio Spurs, or 3 of 11, and the efficiency wasn't there. But they kept going to him, and eventually it paid off. He dunks on Wemby at the end. That physical style of play in the paint wears on teams, just like what Houston was doing to the Clippers in some ways on Wednesday. I thought the game against San Antonio was a breakthrough type of game for Ivica Zubac, and it was in some ways. Something was born out of that. They won 4 in a row, and he was in double figures over the next 4 games, all wins. The problem is they resort to some bad habits, I think, sometimes with Ivica Zubac. Now, if you want to say he only played 27 minutes, Adam, Coach Lue should have played him more. On the season, he's averaging 34 minutes per game. That is a career high. Well, part of that is because when he was out there, he wasn't being that effective. Whether it was on him and not being aggressive enough or not being demanding enough to get the basketball, or it was on his teammates not getting him the basketball, it wasn't happening. So Coach Lue said, hey, if we're going to be getting out-rebounded by 25, which was the advantage at one point for the Houston Rockets, if it's not even working playing our big, I might as well go small and try to juice up the offense. We're down double digits. We got to get back into this ball game. So I understood the logic of starting that fourth quarter, going small and playing small pretty much the rest of the way. Kobe Brown came in, and I thought had some really nice moments. I'm interested to see how that develops. Maybe he gets some small ball 5 minutes tonight. Maybe some power forward minutes. Who knows? But this is why it's imperative to get Zoo going early in the first, establishing yourself and what you're going to be doing that night offensively and how you're going to play. And they need that reminder of, oh, yeah, we have this guy who's a monster and a sleeping giant that just needs the basketball more, just needs more minutes and more touches, and we become a completely different team when we get Ivica Zubac involved. It's really that simple, guys. Like, I put out this tweet, and I don't know, some people definitely agreed with it because it got a few likes during the ball game. And I just said, let's look how differently this Clippers team plays when Ivica Zubac is getting the basketball versus when they're going away from him. It's night and day. You can see it out there. They're a different team when they're giving Ivica Zubac the ball and getting him involved. It's really simple. And it means there's more high pick and roll. It means he's getting more active now on the defensive end because he feels like he's being involved. It happens all the time with big men in this league. It is, I like an unwritten rule. It's just the code. Like, you want your big man to do work on the defensive end, you better get him involved on the offensive end. It's how it's always been in this league, no matter who it is. So I just want to see this team make sure they prioritize Ivica Zubac early. Now, you can make the argument because they were so hot from three in that first quarter, going 7 of 10 Wednesday night in Houston, that it almost worked against them in some ways. They got off to this hot start because of hot shooting, and it wasn't sustainable, and it sent them down a path of playing a different brand of basketball where Ivica Zubac was kind of forgotten about, faded into the background. The three-point shooting was a blessing or a curse in disguise. It wasn't sustainable. They couldn't keep it up. They still had a decent night three-point shooting-wise, don't get me wrong, but in the end, it got them off track from playing Clippers basketball, which I think this season, when they're at their best, is high pick and roll with Ivica Zubac and James Harden. That's the foundation of this. That's their identity. That's their DNA. So, to me, every game, 3 out of the first times down, 3 out of the first 5 offensive possessions, Ivica Zubac has to be touching the basketball. Period. I don't know how many times I have to say this. Give him the damn ball. And then we got people like this, Frank White. It's time to trade Zoo. If we give him the ball, he can't handle the double team like a good big. He has plenty of times. Straight up timeout. Yeah, first of all, hey, Frank, they can't trade him all of this season. It's in his contract. Dear God. I can't help some of these people. An easy timeout to start things off here. Fade to Light said 7-6 tonight. Let's go. Chris G said 7-6 tonight. Ray said that court, my eyes. Yeah, if you don't have a good TV screen, the red, people think the blue can be bad or oversaturation. Yeah, it is. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. Bonesaw said, I think it works when you're at the games, guys. These courts look really cool because the cameras aren't, pointing directly down. Not that they are directly down, but you're getting that side angle more of when you're at the game, and it looks really great. Sometimes on the TV, it doesn't translate. I get that with the in-season tournament. It's a little much. Bonesaw said, looking forward to seeing the adjustments by Lou and Van Gundy. Agree. Against a good adjuster himself and Ime Udoka. Ray said, is Brian Seaman coming back on? Well, not in today's episode, but he'll be back again. Ray said, Ivica made man Zubac needs some gabagool to get the team going. What is that? Is that a dish? What is gabagool? Fade to Light said, I think Ty can be more creative with how he features Zoo. I think Ty has told them exactly what to do with Ivica Zubac, and it's on his teammates sometimes. Bonesaw said, I know a guy who takes a shot every time Zoo scores. Really? Uncle Mike said the difference between Harden's offense and the Clippers' offense. No, Harden's offense is playing high pick and roll. That's absolutely Harden's offense, playing off of his big man. To act like there's some distinction there is completely wrong, Uncle Mike. Harden's offense is Ivica Zubac's offense. Those two playing in tandem, that's how Harden has worked with his big man his entire history since he got to Houston and became a number one option. That's not you have to play Harden's way or Ivica Zubac's way. They work together in tandem. Christian said, do you think Zoo plays harder when he's sharing time with Kai Jones? What do you mean sharing time? They haven't been on the court together. Holo Dolo said, I think we lost last game due to rebounding. You think? First time this season, I think we got dominated on the boards. Need to be better there. I think we win tonight. Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't expect them to be this good of a rebounding team as they have been coming into this season. And coming up, by the way, we'll talk about James Harden and some weird fluky shooting that is tanking his efficiency. But I never thought the Clippers coming into this season would be top 5 in defensive rebounding percentage, would be 12th in offensive rebounding percentage, and overall 6th in rebounding percentage. I never thought that. They just don't have the personnel, but they've been working hard. And, Smalls are crashing the glass and boxing out their man, and they're doing a great job. I do wonder, though, if there could be some slippage starting there, not just because it's Houston and how good they are, because they're not just, they're one of the best rebounding teams. They're second in rebounding percentage. The Clippers are sixth there, so they're even better. And I think they have the youth and the young legs to sustain it more, where the Clippers may be having to give so much effort on the glass that it's starting to catch up with them. And I just wonder how long it's going to hold up. I'm a little bit concerned about that. Jason Davis said, T-Man for 39 tonight. Yeah, that'd be nice. He was good the last game. His 14 points were very impactful. Link to 6 said Mo Bamba had 13 points and 12 boards last night in G League. Can anyone confirm that? I saw him hit that three-pointer to start things off. So, I mean, it's G League, but I'm excited for Mo Bamba. I think he'll be with them when they return. For all the Kai Jones talk, guys, he's been out of the rotation. Maybe he gets some run tonight. They give him a look. Sopranos reference. I got you. R.I.P. James Gandolfini. I watched The Sopranos for the first time all the way through probably 5 years ago. It's good. It's good. I know for some people it's their favorite show of all time. But I didn't watch it initially while it was happening, and I know that could give you a different feeling about it, and people get nostalgic about it now. I think all the stuff that was the main plot line with the Wise Guys was great. There were some offshoot stories with his family and stuff that didn't age very well. There was some stuff that was like, I get that this is a great all-time legendary show, but probably could have chopped some things out here or here. The ending still disappointed me, but whatever. Axie said, I hope Kai makes a difference tonight. So you're assuming he's playing tonight. Christian said, I mean, Kai in for Zoo instead of Nico. I think when Kai's getting blocks and dunks, it fires up Zoo. Kai has not been great the last couple of weeks. Could they try him against this athletic Houston team? Yeah. Maybe he does get a look tonight. Maybe Kobe Brown gets the look. Holo Dolo said 100% Clips rebounding this season has been incredibly a pleasant surprise. It has been. I don't know if it's going to hold up like the Sopranos. Red Dog said, do you think Jordan Miller will get more playing time tonight? I think if they get down early, I wouldn't be shocked to see him. Honestly, if they're down 8 to 10 points early, I would almost expect to see Jordan Miller. Some people say The Wire is the greatest show of all time. I don't know if I could debate it. I mean, I've seen it once, and it was 5 years ago. Went all the way through it in, a month span or something. A lot of people have The Wire up there. Here's the funny thing about The Wire. Everybody goes, The Wire is the greatest show ever, except season 2. It's like, so I got to season 2, and I didn't finish it. And people are like, well, you got to understand, season 2 is not that great. It's like, you're saying it's the greatest show ever, and you're discounting an entire season and just saying to bypass that when there's only 5 seasons, so 20% of it isn't good. Can we? Like the shows that I think are the best ever. Better Call Saul doesn't have a bad season. You could say X-Files does. But they got more seasons and way more shows, so it wouldn't be 20% of the shows like it is if you take away an entire season, like people say to do with season 2 of Sopranos. Oh no, Frank White's back. Uh, Frank White, who said earlier that they need to trade Ivica Zubac, not realizing he's not trade eligible, and it's a ludicrous comment since he's been, I don't know, their second, third best player on the team. He's getting 16 and 12. So now we're hearing, I appreciate season 2 of The Wire. It's just a huge tonal shift compared to what came before and after. Okay, but have you not heard people say, yeah, season 2 is not great? I'm not off base there. I know people have said that. Hardcore, The Wire disciples and apologists even say that season 2 is not great. See, Frank White's just one of those guys that probably doesn't know ball very well because he's like, hey, Kai brings energy. It's like, okay, energy's great. So did Russell Westbrook. You know what's even better than energy? Effectiveness. That's better. A lot better. He's out of position a ton. He has looked lost at the NBA level quite a bit. Would you be okay to trade Zubac? Here's another timeout. Zubac is not trade eligible. Caesar, you guys are killing me. This is going to end up being a much shorter show. I can't take the stupidity. I'm sorry. People willing to trade Ivica Zubac, who is getting 16 and 12 and is 27 and just starting to come into his own. And the only time he is limited is when he doesn't get many touches. You give him the minutes, you give him the touches, he gives you the production, like virtually every time. He has what I would say was a down game against Houston. And there's this recency bias, and people are talking about trading Ivica Zubac now. What are we doing? Holo Dolo said, Coach Lou pulling out KPJ after the first few minutes surprised me a bit. Me too. Maybe it was just one game, or maybe he's ready for a change. Bones and or Miller, I guess we'll see today. We don't know that. We might. I am really curious. I think this is a good point, Holo Dolo. So I did not expect KPJ to only get 6 minutes in that game. I did not think he was so bad or so wildly different in his play compared to what we had seen for him to only get 6 minutes. He was having some down moments like KPJ has. So why then was the leash shortened to that degree where he doesn't play at all in the second half? What did he do that was so wrong? I know he picked up some fouls early. Maybe that was it. He took a bad 3. Maybe that was it, but it's not out of the ordinary for that to happen. So we were 11 games in heading into that last game against Houston where he only played 6 minutes. Is Coach Lou shortening the leash and saying, okay, KPJ, if you're not playing better, if you're not doing the things we're asking for, that means I'm going to take away minutes, and there's going to be, some consequences if you're not playing better basketball out there now. Like, you had your chance to show us what you can do, play through the ups and downs, but now, at this point, we got guys that are frothing at the mouth to come off the bench and get some minutes in Bones, in Jordan Miller, and so he could be cut out of the rotation now. I don't know. I'm really interested to see KPJ minutes tonight, so I'm glad you brought that up. Holo Dolo, appreciate you. Axie said never trade Zoo, never. So the guy was smoking crack. I can't. Frank White needs to get spanked right for setting traps. Yawning Tears said, do you think Harden should lower his shot attempts and usage at all? I think they're trying to lower his usage. They're doing what they can by bringing Chris Dunn into the starting lineup. That entire premise or the objective there is for him to get James Harden off the ball more, so he's less taxed. But we're going to talk about James Harden here in a second, and I'm going to tell you where he's really struggling. And it's this really fluky, strange thing, guys, kind of a shooting anomaly that's going on with James Harden that actually leads me to believe things are in a much better place than I thought with him. Yanni Tears said, I wonder if pulling KPJ had anything to do with it being him playing his former team and fans. Maybe. Was he overhyped? Was he playing outside of himself? Frank White needs to get spanked, right? Frank White says, Zoo is our only effective big. The Clippers can't keep going small against these young athletic teams. Kai adds size until Mo Bamba comes back. Okay, he's definitely closer. He's getting warmer now. This is a little bit more logical. But again, they weren't rebounding against the Houston Rockets even while playing big. If they're not going to rebound even while playing big, then why should Coach Lue play big? He might as well pull him. It was completely logical. And they made the run going small. I'm sorry I had to scream this, but people aren't listening. And Frank White's already been put in timeout like twice. Umer said, not going to lie, we need less Zoo minutes. When he's not being spoon-fed, he does nothing. Might as well put in Kai or go small ball. He is a top 5 rim protector in the league. To act like he is doing nothing just because he's not getting the basketball is incorrect. He is literally the backbone of their defense. If I have to get on the megaphone like this, I will. I can't take it. I can't take it. Holo Dolo said trading Zoo would ruin our offense to the same degree as not having Harden. Our offense is high pick and roll. You take away our only good screen setter. Come on, people. Think, people. He sets screens regardless of if he is getting the basketball. He is a great screen setter in the league. Saying he does nothing if he's not being spoon-fed is very much incorrect. Umar, timeout. Some people were saying James Harden and Norman Powell got into it last game. I didn't see video of this. Some were saying, no, they were talking to the opposition. I don't know. But Frank White's getting better. Timeouts often, it's like a shot collar. It is a good way to get somebody's attention, and they make the adjustments. Honestly, that's why the timeouts are there. A lot of these things are correctable. A lot of these opinions are correctable and fixable. And a timeout helps guide someone back to sanity sometimes. Not always. I mean, Sam Sanatorium, you can't help that guy. Guys, let's go. Absence says it. Feed Zoo early and he'll remain engaged. If you don't feed him, he disengages. I think there's some truth to that. I still think he gives you great effort on the defensive end. Is it better when you get him going just like every other big man? I think so. But let's see. It's not like they've been getting him involved much over the years consistently, and he still has consistently been a top 5 rim protector. So I think Ivica Zubac, regardless, is giving you that effort. Yanni Tears said, what do you think is the biggest obstacle in getting Zoo more touches? His positioning, defensive coverage scheme, are guys not looking? This is a great question. Yanni Tears is going to make me cry tears of joy for the chat right now because I had my doubts for a second. I think some of it's just bad habits. It's early in the season, and they're not used to featuring Ivica Zubac so much because over the years they had so much offensive talent, and they just had this embarrassment of riches, and Ivica Zubac got lost in the shuffle. So now it's this paradigm shift for how they play basketball, and sometimes they fall into the trap of forgetting about Zoo. Nowadays, everybody want to talk. They got something to say. Nothing comes out when they move the lips. Just a bunch of gibberish. They forgot about Zoo. Holo Dolo said, also Şengün had a bad game. Zoo was highly responsible for that. People only love watching basketball on one side. If I have to emphasize things now, so it gets ingrained in some people's heads. That's a really good point. Holo Dolo. Really good point. Y'all are bringing me back to life, restoring my hope in the Clippers Talk chat. Eddie Kennedy said, I'd like to run Batum, Kobe as the small ball big lineup. with guards, not the 4 guards and one of them. I don't hate that, I don't. You still at least can have 4 shooters out there, and Kobe Brown is at least a conceivable threat to shoot it. Did he have an air ball from 3 the other night? But, I mean, his last season in college, he shot 46% from the outside. That is part of the reason they drafted him with a first-round pick, to see if he could shoot. Millie said, why they just couldn't put Kai at the 4 with Zoo and go ultra big when playing non-shooters anyways. And while with the Hornets, Kai showed he could play the 4 and could shoot a bit, because it would kill the Clippers' spacing on offense. That is why it would be death. They already struggle there. It would be worse. Legend said Clippers podcaster defends Zubac like they always defend Westbrook, as always. I never defended Westbrook. That's a timeout. Zoo has improved in defensive reads, but gets doubled a lot and still struggles with it. Defensive reads? You mean passing out of the double team? He's improved greatly. Ray said La Murray's reactions to Mo Bamba. San Diego Clippers tried to post him at times, didn't really work. Active on offensive glass, got a dunk and one and another hook. Drew a foul after putting ball on floor, end of half from 3, made free throws. There's your La Murray notes. I just texted with Law a little bit earlier. He'll be coming on with me pregame again, so that'll be around 4:30 Pacific time. Pregame starts at 4. Yanni Tiers said, I've said this, but more so Kai with Bamba makes more sense to me. I guess it does. Guys, Kai Jones has not played well in the NBA. He has struggled greatly the last couple of weeks. This is why he's been getting phased out of the rotation. It's not just about being able to jump and be an athlete. You have to be in position on the floor. Absent said, the truth is Harden and Batum are the only good entry passers on the team. That's one of the reasons why Zoo doesn't get more touches. This is a fact. This is a fact. A sad fact, but true. Sad but true. Is that a Metallica song? Absent. That is absolutely on point. A great one. So, here's what I want to talk about with James Harden, guys, as we move along here. I got to eat lunch, go to the gym, and get the pregame going. So, I find this fascinating because it's such a crazy statistic, and it was brought to you by Tomer Azarli. We talked about it for a second last night on Clips and Dip. Make sure to check out that show. We pulled up the graphic just like I'm about to. And when we pulled it up, I noticed something that stood out right away, and I ran the numbers. I couldn't do it in my head, but I ran it through the calculator. James Harden, Tomer Azarli says, smart guy, James Harden has been doing everything for the Clippers this season, but he has really struggled with his shot. A look at his shooting by quarter and his overall shot chart. So, first quarter, he's shooting 37% from the field and 37.5% from 3, and plays the majority of the minutes, almost 11 minutes in the first quarter. Second quarter, minutes are down to his lowest quarter at 6.5 minutes. His field goal percentage is at 16%. His three-point percentage is at 11%. Third quarter goes back up. 43% field goal percentage, 36% three-point percentage in 11 minutes that he averages in third quarters. Fourth quarter, it's its highest field goal percentage at 54%. Three-point percentage, 33%. About 7 minutes per game in the fourth quarter. What is going on in the second quarter? So I went to the game log because what I did was ran the numbers. If you take out second quarters, those 6.5 minutes he averages in the second quarter where he is shooting 16% and 11% from 3, if you take out the second quarter and average out quarter 1, 3, and 4, he's shooting 45% from the field and 35% from 3. You would take that all day. What is happening in those 6.5 minutes in second quarters? Basically, If you just had quarters 1, 3, and 4, he's putting up his career averages. He averages for his career 44% from the field, 36% from 3. If you take out second quarters this season, he's at 45% from the field. He's at 35% from 3. Why is he struggling so much in second quarters? So much so that if you look at the game log, or if you look at exactly how many shots he has taken in the second quarter so far this season, 44. 44 shot attempts in second quarters. He has hit 7 of them. He's 7 for 44 in second quarters. That's how you get to that 15.9% field goal percentage in second quarters. He is 2 for 19 from 3 in second quarters. That's how you get to that 10.5% three-point percentage in second quarters. How? How is he that bad, and why in second quarters? What is going on in second quarters? Are the Clippers just struggling there? Is he forcing things? Somebody said the other day when I brought this up that, he's trying to do too much to make up for the fact that Kevin Porter Jr. is tanking things in the second quarter. Well, guess what? This is why the eye test does not match up. This is why the eye test is not what front offices and not what head coaches use very often anymore. Yes, they use it, but you go to the numbers to get the facts on things like this. This guy who said Kevin Porter Jr. is tanking things by playing so poorly in second quarters that the reason James Harden is shooting so poorly in them is because he's trying to make up for the Clippers being down big, and he's trying too hard to get them back into the ball game. Well, as it turns out, that's not remotely true. In fact, in second quarters, Kevin Porter Jr., guys, is a plus 29 and shooting 52% from the floor and 44% from 3. He's actually been really good in second quarters and is a plus 29. So it's not that, but that just underscores how much the eye test cannot be relied upon. So, do we have any guesses here as to why James Harden is so bad in second quarters that it is the sole reason his efficiency is this low, which I find very encouraging. Take out second quarters, he's at 45% from the field and 35% from 3. He's fine. It's just those 6.5 minutes in second quarters. Whew. So, I want some realistic ideas, some thoughtful ideas as to why he is struggling so much. Holo Dolo said, wow, this is super insightful. Props to him for this graphic. Now, this is how analytics should be used. I don't know what problem you have with analytics normally, but 6 minutes is a long time to sit out. Well, he just played 11 minutes in the first quarter. He's 35. It's not that crazy. I mean, that's typically how many minutes Kawhi would sit out in second quarters to start things. That's not out of the ordinary. I don't think that's it, Frank, but I like the guess. Old doesn't make sense either. He's shooting 54% in fourth quarters when he should be more tired. Why is he shooting better later in the game after he's more worn out? It's second quarter. Quarters. Da Fry Guy said, those second quarter numbers feel lineup related to me. Who is he usually on the court with those second quarter numbers? I think a lot of the same starters, honestly. I think for the most part, it's him back in with the starters. Are they just so bad overall in second quarters? Because I'm looking at other guys' numbers. Well, James Harden is a minus 40 in second quarters, which makes sense. He's shooting 16%. But who else is bad? Derrick Jones Jr. is a minus 22. Terrence Mann's a minus 30. Okay, there were two guys, one that's not a starter anymore, but There's two starters. Amir Coffey's a minus 11 there. Ivica Zubac is a minus 9 in second quarters. Norman Powell's a minus 25 in second quarters. Now, Ivica Zubac often starts second quarters with that lineup that has been doing good with Kevin Porter Jr., with Chris Dunn, Amir Coffey, Nico Batum. So he's only minus 9. But some of the other starters, Norman Powell, minus 25 in second quarters. Again, James Harden, minus 40. Derrick Jones Jr., minus 22. Terrence Mann, minus 30. So it likely means it is the Clippers starters not being good in second quarters. So let's look at what the Clippers' offensive and defensive ratings are in second quarters, guys, as we try to, Hardy boy our way through this crazy mystery as to why James Harden is destroying his shooting percentages in second quarters. Not on purpose. Why is it happening? It seems so fluky. Okay, so offensive rating in second quarters. On the season for the Clippers, they're 17th in offensive rating. Second quarters, 26th. Defensive rating. On the season, they're 7th. Second quarters, they're 10th. Pace, they're around the same, 26th. Now I think what's going to be revealing here is turnovers in second quarters. I think they average close to the most turnovers in second quarters in the league. Yes, they do. Wait, let me pull this up here. We know turnovers have been a problem. I think the Clippers are at their worst, though, in second quarters. Let's see about this. So they're turning it over 5.1 times per game in the second quarter alone. How much of that is James Harden? Let's see. Do most of his turnovers come in the second quarter? Let's see if I can find this. It's not easy to unearth what's happening here. It seems like part of it I want to say is fluky. Part of it I want to believe is fluky, and it's not that meaningful, and it's going to turn around, and that's why I'm hopeful. I see this and I go, it can't last. He can't be this bad in second quarters forever. It's not sustainable. It doesn't make any sense. So Harden turnovers in the second quarter. Well, he's only averaging 1. So that's not very helpful either. Now he's playing less minutes in the second quarter. I am looking for any ideas on this. Again, the rotations, they're playing starters. I'm trying to see if I can do lineup data. This is what it needs to be. Let me see if the lineup tool will allow me. Ooh, I think it will. Will it? Will it not? All shot clock ranges, all game times. Okay, I got it, guys. I'm going to pull the second quarter lineups for the Clippers. I think we're going to be able to figure this out and get to the bottom of it. I appreciate you guys bearing with me as we kind of troubleshoot this together all at once. This was where I was going, and Holo Dolo has had some really smart comments. He is on top of things. So, second quarter lineups. Let's review. The lineup that has been good, that I've been talking about forever, that has Kevin Porter Jr. in it, that has been starting second quarters with Kevin Porter Jr., with Chris Dunn, Amir Coffey, Nico Batum. So that lineup in second quarters is a plus 20 in 30 minutes, a plus 20. Here's two lineups that are killing the Clippers in second quarters, and they both involve James Harden. Here we go. These are two of the top 4 most used lineups minutes-wise. In 26 minutes with this lineup in second quarter so far, it's James Harden, Norman Powell, Ivica Zubac, Derrick Jones Jr., and Terrence Mann. The starting lineup. At least until last game. Minus 14 in 26 minutes. They have 10 assists to 10 turnovers in those 26 minutes. A 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. So there's a huge reason right there. That's the biggest reason. Why are they so bad in second quarters? In first quarters, let's see what that lineup has been doing on the season, right? The former starting lineup. This is what's confounding, guys. In first quarters, that same lineup in 67 minutes is a +7 with a turnover ratio of 44-16, 44 assists to 16 turnovers. Why are they so bad in the second quarter? The same lineup that is a +7 in first quarters, the original starting lineup for 11 straight games with Terrence Mann in there, +7 in first quarters. Second quarters, it goes to crap. They're a -14. And they have a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. What is happening? That is unbelievable. So are teams just adjusting so quickly? By the second quarter, they have that starting lineup figured out? Did the Clippers get gassed and need halftime to recharge? But then James Harden is actually shooting better in fourth quarters when he should be more tired. That doesn't make sense either. Is it just fluky shooting? Is it just James Harden? Is he the biggest reason this lineup is a -14 in second quarters? I mean, they go from, in first quarters, this same lineup, the starting lineup, the original starting lineup with Terrence Mann, they're shooting 47% from the field, 30% from three is not good, but they're +7 in 67 minutes. They're fine. It's not great. I'm glad they made the lineup change. You guys know I talked about that the day before it happened. I said, Terrence Mann's got to get it together here. In the second quarter, though, they are shooting 34% from the field and 29% from three. They're also fouling a ton. Why are they falling apart? People are saying the reason James Harden is better in fourth quarters is because maybe he gets a second win, which I have hypothesized. But the pace slows down. That favors him shooting-wise. Would like to know when Harden is worse with turnovers per quarter. I can get that to you. The data could change. It very well could. And I'm sure this is something that they looked at. But it still makes no sense that they go from solid, decent in the first quarter with that starting lineup to atrocious with the same 5 guys on the floor in the second quarter. I do think Ray's right about this, that Ty Lue will start making quicker corrections. I think that is a great call, or it's better put than how I said it earlier. Like we were talking about, yes, KPJ. Holo Dolo says what I kind of wanted to see out of this. These stats are 100% giving me hope. There isn't a real reason for these bad minutes. Feels like a fluke that will turn around once we cut out the turnovers. It does, right? It does. There's no reason the same lineup should be that bad. I just gave you the shooting percentages, Sarah. In the second quarter, that lineup, are we talking about the same lineup? Yes, that lineup is shooting 34% from the field and 29% from three in 26 minutes. -14. Just gave it to you. First quarter, they're fine. Their three-point shooting isn't great, and that's why I think the Terrence brand was not helping that. John McClain said, I feel like turnovers is the biggest cause because some of the turnovers could really gas Harden and the others. Yippee-ki-yay, by the way, Adam. Again, I don't buy this. Absent said Harden is tired in both the second and fourth quarters. The difference is the opponent has more energy in the second quarter than the fourth quarter. The opponent's playing harder in fourth quarters. They're giving maximum effort more in fourth quarters, where Harden is shooting actually 54% from the field. Where I bet you if I asked you what quarter he was shooting worse in before you saw the numbers, you would say the fourth. I bet you anything, if I didn't tell you already, you guys would have guessed, oh, he's probably the worst in fourth quarters because he's the most tired there. He has those bad turnovers. You want to see when most of his turnovers come? And again, this whole thing started with what is going on in the second quarter with James Harden and his shooting. I'm going to give it to you one more time because it's so unbelievable. What is it? 7 for 44? Yes, 7 for 44 from the field is what James Harden is in second quarters. Now, his assist to turnover ratio in second quarters is 18-13. Really bad. So it's not even about how many turnovers per quarter. It's really about assist to turnover ratio per quarter is what I'm more concerned about. So 18-13, bad. Let's try first quarter, where James Harden is shooting a more respectable 37% from the field, but more importantly, he's at 38% from three. So he's taking, I think, more threes. Like 40 of his 67 attempts in first quarters are threes. So field goal percentage isn't very indicative of how well he's shooting in first quarters because he's taking far more three-pointers, where he's shooting 38%. Look at his assist to turnover ratio in the first quarter. It's 40-13. It's almost 4-1. It goes 40 assists to 13 turnovers in the first quarter to, in the second quarter here, 18-13. It's not even 2-1. You go from 4-1 assist to turnover ratio in the first quarter to getting closer to a 1-1. It's like 1.5. So let's check third quarter. James Harden in the third quarter, shooting 43% from the field, 36% really from the outside. You'll take it. Assist to turnover ratio, basically 2-1. 33 assists to 15 turnovers. Not great, 2-1, but it's not awful like that second quarter. And then fourth quarter. Here we go. James Harden shooting 54% from the field, 33% from three, whatever. He's taking far less threes. He's taking 9 threes total in the fourth quarter. He's 3 of 9. So, like, he makes his next one, he's at 40% from three in fourth quarter. So that's not a big enough sample size to say much about. His assist to turnover ratio, guys, in the fourth quarter, oh no. He's under a 1-to-1 ratio. He has 14 assists to 15 turnovers in the fourth quarter. That's brutal. That does line up with the eye test. James Harden has 14 assists to 15 turnovers in the fourth quarter. So his worst passing quarter is the fourth quarter. No, the turnovers aren't as high of an amount, but the assists are under. It's 14-15, 14 assists to 15 turnovers. Brutal. Man. This is, I don't know. I find it highly interesting. I hope you guys do too. We're just trying to figure this out. And I think there are a lot of encouraging signs here. No, that assist to turnover ratio is not great in the fourth. He has one more turnover than assists. That's unbelievably bad. Now, that is the fatigue, I think. But, Adam, can you make that excuse about fatigue when he's also shooting 54% from the field in the fourth? Well, part of the reason his field goal percentage is up so much in the fourth is he's taking less three-pointers. Again, only 9 of his 24 shot attempts in the fourth quarter are threes. So he's getting to his floater more. He's getting to the basket more. He's getting to the free throw line a lot. I feel like we did some good work here. What do you guys think? Yeah. Rock said, so he's being more aggressive scoring in the second half, but fatigue with playmaking. So handling both roles, I guess. Here's the thing. He's taking less shots, I want to say, in the fourth, but he's making more of them. He's taking a lot of shots, a lot of field goal attempts. If I go second quarter field goal attempts compared to the rest of the quarters, let's see on this. This is interesting. So 3.7. Maybe that's not true. 3.7 field goal attempts in the second quarter. What's he at in the first quarter? 5.6. So that's not it either. It's not, man, it's not easy, man. It's really not. Fourth quarter, he is taking less in the second quarter, 2.2 field goal attempts. Third quarter, where's he at now? 5 field goal attempts. So it's not like he's taking an unusual amount for playing less minutes of shots in that second quarter either, or just like trying to put him up, and that's why his field goal percentage is so bad. That's not it. It's that starting lineup in the second quarter gets really bad. Really bad. And that's not all on Harden, I don't think. Fatigue, when you look at that 14 assist to 15 turnover number in the fourth quarter, I got to think that's part of it. All right, guys. Now, Hello Dolo points out, and this is positive, so I want to say it. To me, every bit of the Clippers' issues are fixable, and the solution is called Kawhi Leonard. Get well soon. Yeah. Kawhi cures, I think, almost everything that ails them. So, all right, guys. Appreciate you. There was your preview and James Harden second quarter mystery stuff. I was interested to go over that and try to figure out exactly what it is. I don't know if we did that, but I think we know at least part of it. I want to say is fluky shooting, which means it should turn around, which means if his second quarters turn around, his efficiency turns around just like that. Take out second quarters. He's at 45% from the field, 35% from the outside, basically career averages. You can't just take out second quarters, but he's not going to go 7 for his next 44 from the field in second quarters. I guarantee you that. Guarantee. All right. This has been another edition of Clippers Talk Live. I'm Adam Osland. Appreciate you guys. We will talk to you pregame at 4 Pacific. And again, this was a lot of fun, even if you got a timeout or yelled at. It's all jokes. No one cares. It's not that serious. It's sports. Have fun. Talk to you guys a little bit later. Check out the Brian Seaman interview, please. Please. It's Brian Seaman. I shouldn't have to ask.